Shalom, shalom, brother Abaya. First, we give all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the Son, who people ignorantly call him Jesus Christ. Lord willing, you're enduring, you're praying, you're fasting, you're giving alms, you're doing everything you need to do to make your calling and election sure in these last days. Because these are the last days, man. We got brother getting locked up, brother getting persecuted, all hell breaking loose with the UFO sightings. You got this vaccine coming out. You know, Biden said if you don't get the vaccine, what's it called? All hell gonna break loose, basically, in many words, right? Or in a few words, my bad, right? So basically, this is the end. And this video is really talking about the persecution, the things you will have to go through for the name of the Lord, the thing you're gonna have to go through when you get put in that FEMA camp, when your head's in that guillotine, when you're in the lion's den, when you feel like you're about to die, man, when you got to get put to death for the Lord. Because this is the end, bro, right? There's no more time left on the clock. It's 11:59, right? It's about to hit 12 a.m., right? All hell is about to break loose, man. This is the end, right? So we're going to kick it off with Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. And it reads, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." So the so-called white man, he's the devil the Bible speaks of. Devil just means deceiver. The so-called white man is going to put you in these other nations, wherever you live, wherever the Israelites are teaching that, they're going to put you into captivity. They're going to put you in jails, prison, FEMA camps, right? And they're going to torture you. They're going to do a lot of crude acts to you just for you to deny the name of the Lord. Because right now we're out there teaching, we're bringing the cities down. We're prophesying the downfall of this nation, man. They don't want to hear that. They know they have a short time. You can read Job 14 and verse 5, man. You read Revelation chapter 12. They know that they have a short time, man. So they want to come persecute the saints, the people who's out there keeping the commandments, the people who's out there teaching, right? The sisters who's wearing the head wraps, dresses, who's ravishing their husbands, right? They go and persecute the saints, man. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to be on a run in the wilderness? Are you ready to be homeless? Are you ready to be starving for 3 days? Is your faith built up to that point yet, man? Is your faith built up to that point when you about to get put to death? You know the Lord will save you. You have faith that you can get put to death and you won't deny the name of the Lord, man. Because a lot of people talk tough right now, but in that day, man, in that day, the Lord going to show who His saints are, who His chosen are. That's 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 64 on down, right? Okay, so let's get right into it, man. Because again, those 10 days, it's not actually 10 days. Those 10 days are a complete amount of days. It can be 3 days. You might be in a FEMA camp for 3 days. Next thing you know, all hell break loose. The Lord's coming back to redeem His people. You can be in a FEMA camp or in a prison for a year. It could be a whole year, right? And then you get delivered. You could be in there for 5 months or 7 months, and guess what? You get put to death. You never know if you're going to get put to death or not. That's why you got to be faithful all the way unto death, man. Because you never know if you're going to get put to death or not. That guillotine can be coming down right on your head top. And guess what? That guillotine stop, you get delivered. You get beamed up, man. So you never know. Let's get this real quick in Matthew chapter 5, Matthew chapter 10, right? Actually, let me get Matthew 20 real quick. This book of Matthew chapter 20 and verse 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said to her, "What wilt thou?" So the mother of the Zebedee's children, James and John, she came to Yahushua, and Yahushua asked her, "What do you want?" basically, right? She said unto him, "Grant that these my 2 sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on thy left in thy kingdom." So the mother asked Yahushua, "Grant that my 2 sons may sit with you in the kingdom." Basically, that they would be saved, right? One on the right hand and one on the left hand, right? Verse 21 too. But Yahushua answered and said, "You know not what ye ask. Are you able to drink of the cup thou shalt drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They said unto him, "We are able." And that drink of cup is not talking about no yan. It's not talking about your whiskey, your Hennessy, or your Patron. It's not talking about none of those things, man. The cup, that cup is the affliction, being put to death, being hated by your own people, getting delivered up by your own family, being separate. You might be homeless, fasting. That's the cup you have to drink of, that the Lord had to drink of, man. He got beaten, man. He had false brethren unawares, man. He had his own brother betray him. He had all these things happen to him. He got beat by his own people. He got put to death for a whole bunch of ungrateful people, man. That's a drink. That's a cup you got to drink of. A lot of people, they want to have fun nowadays. The only people who's going to make it are the people who's going through affliction, going through tribulations, getting persecuted, man, in the cities, man, getting beat up by people, by scoffers, getting beat up by people who don't agree with the Lord, man. Those are the people who's going to make it into the kingdom of heaven, because those are the people who's been faithful unto death, being faithful by teaching the words of the Lord. Let me get this real quick. That's why I told you in Acts chapter 14 and verse 22 real quick. And it reads, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So you have job requirements. They ask you, can you do this? Can you do that? You're required to have this. You're required to have a diploma, right? You're required to have this, that, and the third. Same thing with the kingdom of heaven, man. If you want to enter into everlasting salvation, you have to have requirements. There's requirements to it. The requirement, you gotta be an Israelite. That's a requirement, right? But another thing on that list that's a requirement, guess what? Tribulation, hell, affliction, right? That's a requirement. You can be the mightiest brother, the mightiest teacher, and have no affliction, man. The Lord's not dealing with that. Because you would be a bastard, according to Hebrews chapter 12. You would be a bastard if the Lord's not dealing with you like he would deal with his sons, man. If you were without affliction, if you were without anything, tribulation, you're just a bastard and the Lord's not dealing with you. But if you're going through it, you're getting put in jail, all hell breaking loose on your side, right? You're living in a car, all hell breaking loose, man. The Lord's dealing with you like a son because he loves you. He's putting you through that fire, man, right? Come, we can get back to the lesson now. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 20 and verse 23. And he said unto them, ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom is prepared of my Father. So that was James and John's mother, man. That was James and John saying that they're willing to drink of that cup. They're willing to get put to death for the Lord. Guess what happened in Acts chapter 12 and verse 1 on down? James got put to death, man. He drank of that cup. Let me get it real quick. I don't want to jump the gun. Let me get this real quick in Acts chapter 12 and verse 1. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword, man. Straight like that. Straight to the point, man. James and John's mother asked Yahushua, can they sit in the kingdom of heaven with the Lord? The Lord asked them, James and John, are you able to drink of the cup? Are you willing to get put to death for this thing? He said, we are able, right? Guess what? In Acts chapter 12 and verse 2, James, that same man that said to Yahushua, we are able, he got put to death. He drank everything that was in his cup, man, right? So you commit into this truth. Don't think it's all fun and games. Stop thinking everything's soft. That Christianity mindset got to depart from you, man. Because this is the real deal. No Christians really been locked up like that, right? We are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We've always been getting locked up. So how much more when you know your true nationality? How much more when you know your true identity, man? How much more when you know that the Most High God and His Son Yahushua, they're with you, and that's their God, man, right? Well, let's get another precept though. Let's get Matthew chapter 10. Right, again, this is a video on persecution, tribulation, man. All hell's about to break loose. This is the end, man. You got everything happening across the world. You can't be comfortable. You can't be laying in your bed right now. You should be doing videos, Lord willing. You fasting, passing out flyers, chiefly going out there to teach on the highways and byways. And for you sisters, you over there reverencing your husband, right? You showing respect to them and to the Lord, man, right? You being a teacher of good things. No back talk, no sass, right? Lord willing, everybody's just being as righteous as they can by keeping the commandments and chiefly having that faith in Yahushua. But let's get Matthew chapter 10 and I'll start at verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Because we're the sheep. You got Matthew 15 and 24. We're the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So a sheep, the characteristics of a sheep is docile, right? It's not aggressive, right? It's not going out its way to attack something. It's so docile and submissive. So when we go out there to teach on one fold, we out there to spread, joy and peace to our people, right? But those serpents, those those wolves, these are the other nations, chiefly the police and stuff like that. Those are the wolves that's going to persecute you, that's going to shoot you down at your camp spot, that's going to arrest you and bring you back to the prison, and they might afflict you, they might torment you, just for you to deny the name of the Lord, man, right? Those are the wolves. Verse 17, and it says, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in the synagogues. Okay, you're going to get delivered up in this thing. You might have that one scoffer. He's your own brother, man, right? He's an Israelite, but he might be a coon or something like that. He's on the side of your camp. He's calling the cops. The cops pull up. Now you in the back of the paddy wagon, man, right? Cuffs locked, the cuffs locked on your wrist, man, right? Now you're going to jail. Next thing you know, you've been in prison 14 days. You've been in prison for 7 days. You've been in prison for how long? You got beat up. You got, stripes upon your back. All hell broke loose. They might pluck out your eyes. Your eyes, you got a black eye. All hell broke loose, man. Just because you got delivered up by your own brother. So-called brother. Right? We can keep going. Verse 18. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. And this how much this truth prosper. How you going to be delivered up to the president? That's going to happen. A lot of people, a lot of Israelites who's out there teaching, the main people who's out there teaching, they're going to be delivered up to what? So-called President Joe Biden. They're going to be delivered up to your local governor, man. Your local mayors, man. They're going to be delivered up to them. They're going to get scourged, tormented, put to death. They're going to get delivered, man. It tells you in, I believe it's Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. They're going to try to torment you. And the next thing you know, they're going to see you get beamed up, basically. They're going to see the salvation of the Lord. You're going to get beamed up, man. You don't think these devils going to try you to see if you're really a man of your word, if you're really a man of the Lord? They're going to try you, man. Or chiefly it's the Lord trying you, but they're going to try and see if you're going to break, if you're going to fold under pressure. You might be going through all hell breaking loose. They chopping off your limbs, your members, and stuff like that. Next thing you know, you get beamed up, and they can't do nothing about it. Right? So let's not talk about. Let's not talk about. Let's get it real quick. We're going to bring it out. Let's get it right now. That's a good point too. That's a good point. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 2, and it reads. I'll start at verse 1, and it reads. Then shall a righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him and made no account of his labors. And we're that bold, righteous man. We're the people who's bold to go out there and tell these nations to their face that they're going to captivity. This place about to get destroyed. A famine is about to come upon the earth. We're that people, right? We're that bold people. Verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. So when they see us getting beamed up, they see that the Lord is dealing with us. They're going to be looking at our salvation, the strangeness of his salvation, the chariots, the Lord coming in his glorious power. Hey, man, it's going to be so far beyond all that they look for. They want to be like the Most High. They trying to do all this technology the Most High probably got and stuff like that. They want to be like him, but it's far beyond everything that they got. This iPhone, this TV system, this technology that the so-called white man has, the Chinese man has, is nothing compared to the Most High. Right? Salakia. Let's keep going. Verse 3. Wisdom of Solomon out the Apocrypha. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 3. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, in a proverb of reproach. We fools accounting his life madness and his end to be without honor. Because when they torturing you, when they out here doing these things to you, they thought that, you're just nothing. You're just a nigga coming up with a false doctrine. You just want to be seen of men, right? You're over here talking out your behind, right? We count his life madness, right? Because a lot of poor, the people who's on fire, the people who's really doing it, they're mainly, is majority of them. You got some, what's it called, content, Israelites in this thing, wealthy Israelites. But a lot of Israelites, they're poor. Their visage, their clothing stuff, they might wear the same clothes every week. They got what, 7 pairs of fringes, right? They got 3 pairs of shorts, right? They got a broken behind chain, right? All hell breaking. They don't really have that much, man, right? But the poor, those are the people who's on fire. But the thing is, when the people look at the poor, they think they are nothing. And chiefly, that's talking on the whole nation of Israel. On the whole nation of Israel, as a nation, we are poor as a people. They think that we are nothing. They think we're just niggas. So when these other nations, these heathens see our salvation, we get delivered up from our captivity, they're like, dang, they really are God's chosen people. Dang, they really are sons of God, man. Those are the real Israelites, man. It's going to be too late in that day. All right? Let's keep going now. Verse 4. Or verse 5. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints? And they're going to be asking that, man. All right? Let's keep going, though. Therefore, that's it on that. I'll read this one real quick. Therefore, have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness not rose upon us. But the point is, they're going to see the salvation of the Lord when they try to torment you, man. So let's get some accounts on our righteous forefathers. Well, let me go back to Matthew 10 real quick, actually. This is book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 19. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Because you got a lot of Jake. They're meditating right now. I can't wait to get in front of, Joe Biden. I can't wait to get in front of the mayor or the governor. I'm going to say this, that, and the third. I'm going to cuss them out by Shimmy Hawashah. You know how Jake be. They be meditating in their head. All hell be breaking loose in their mind. Right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they got to deal with it. But hold on, brother. The Lord said, don't meditate what you're going to speak. Because Yahawashah, that was not of him. That was all of the Lord, what he said. And basically all he said was, thou sayest. That's all he said. And it was a so powerful thing, man. Right? When you read Stephen was giving the whole rundown of the Torah, man. That's all of the Lord. Right? He didn't come up with that. He didn't meditate what he's going to do. The Lord put a spirit on him to go down the whole Torah in a quick matter and stuff like that before he got put to death. So same thing with you. When you locked up in a car, you want to wait to the FEMA camp. They give you the last word. Hey, what do you want to say before you get put to death? Don't be meditating what you want to say, and just go with the spirit. Some brothers might have the spirit of being quiet like Yahushua. Some brothers might cuss him out by Hashem Yahushua with a shaking of the hand, right? All hell breaking loose. You might have some people curse them to the face in the Hebrew, right? You might have some brothers who spit on them. You might have some brothers that just say, Koholo Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You might have some brothers say, let's just get this over with, man. Right? I'm a soldier. Right? But you don't have some of these things. You're going to have different brothers, saying different things, man. All right? So you don't try to meditate what you want to say in that day. Right? Verse 20. For it is not that ye, Slakia, for it is not ye that speak, but the spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. So you're not speaking. When you cussing that devil out before you get put to death, that's not you speaking. That's the Most High speaking through you. When you being quiet, you say one thing that confound them all. That's the Lord that confounded them, man. The same way you're out there teaching, that's not you teaching, that's the Lord speaking through you. Same thing when you about to get put to death. You say something so wise, they can't even resist it, right? That's the Lord speaking through you. Verse 21. And the brother shall deliver up their brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. So you're going to have your own brother, man. You're going to have your own brother betraying you. It might be the person you even labor with, man. How shall labor with Judas, and Judas betrayed him? You might have, there's always that one Judas in the circle, man. Right? I'm not saying it's going to be in every circle. I'm just saying statistics, man. That's the facts, right? But you always got that one brother who's going to sell out, right? Lord willing, it's not you. But there's always that one brother who's going to sell out. He's going to deliver you up when all hell breaks loose. He's going to deliver you up. Then guess what? When you in that room, in that interrogation room, about to get tortured, you kind of see him walking past the door with a briefcase full of money. He kind of look in the door. They'll lock eyes. You in a chair like this, all beat up and stuff. y'all lock eyes, he put his head down and keep it pushing, right? And hey, man, it's gonna be like that, man. That one brother you probably thought, hey, he would never do that. Guess what? It might be him, man. You never know. It might be your own brother in the in the world too. You're actually blood brother, man. Right? I used to be cool before y'all got, before you came in the truth. I used to play basketball, play video games together, go up to the clubs and parties, smoking stuff like that. Now you came into the truth. Now you saying you acting weird. I hate you, black Hebrew Israelites, right? And stuff like that. Now he got an opposition about you, man. Right? Now when he get a chance, he gonna sell you out. Because he really don't care about you like that no more. Because you switched up on him, so-called. Right? So it might be your own blood brother too. Right? Verse 22. Matthew chapter 10, verse 22. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So if you endure to the end, you're going to be saved, man. They're going to come to a time and point where all nations going to hate you. The same thing with ISIS. The same thing with these so-called Arabians, right? The Middle East people and stuff like that. They always think, every time they see them with a beard on and stuff like that, they always think they're a terrorist group. Because why? The so-called white men put what's it called? A false flag on them. They gave them a bad name, right? That so-called 9/11 attack. That might happen. That's going to happen to us. They're going to have a false flag on the black Hebrew Israelites. They're going to call us terrorists. You go on the FBI most wanted watch list, instead of seeing, Arabians and stuff like that, Muslims and stuff like that, guess what? You might see, you want to see Israelites, man, so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Americans with beards. They might have their meat tree on, right? They might look austere, right? You're going to see them on a profile picture on the most wanted, man. Because again, all these nations, it's going to come to a time and place when all the nations are going to hate you because you're out there prophesying the downfall of this nation, man. That's prophesying in the Bible. Throughout time, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. It has to get ugly before it gets beautiful, man. You have to go through that affliction before you come out as pure gold, right? You have to, right? You have to. So let's get some accounts on our forefathers who went through it for the Lord. Let's get some accounts. This book of Matthew, chapter 26, and I'll start at verse 42. He went away again the second time, talking about Yahushua, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. So Yahushua knew he's about to get put to death. It got so bad to the point that Yahushua wanted that cup to pass from him, man. And that's Yahushua, that's the King, that's the Lord. If he wanted that cup to be passed from him in the flesh, he was sweating blood. How much more you in that day when all hell breaking loose? When Jacob troubles kick off, when you see all the police, you got the military, you got the FBI on the streets searching for you. All nations hate you. You haven't eaten for 3 days, right? How much more you when you get delivered up by your own family and they about to put you to death? How much more you that barely been fasting, that barely reads, that barely do videos? How much more you, man? All right? Because Yahushua, he didn't want to do that. Well, in the flesh, he didn't want to do that, man. But he still did it because the Lord made him do it. But he was like, please, basically he said, take this cup away from me, but let thy will be done. Right? Verse 43. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. Because again, Yahushua, he went away, then he came back, and the apostles were asleep. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples and said unto them, Sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners, man. And that's going to happen with you. The hour's going to come when you're betrayed into the hands of sinners. When you might be asleep. You might be out there teaching. That one brother don't show up to camp, right? You might be out at camp. Your own family betray you and stuff like that, man. You never know when that hour is when someone betray you. They start acting kind of weird around you, right? Hey, man, you never know. All right, verse 46. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doeth betray me. And that was Judas. Verse 47. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staffs from the chief priests and elders of the people. So imagine all hell breaking loose. You just in your crib chilling, right? You might be reading, You might just be kicking back, watching some Netflix, YouTube, or something. You doing something in your house, right? Lord willing, it's righteous, right? The next thing you know, a big behind tumult. You got a lot of police, cars and stuff like that in formation. All hell breaking loose. The sirens going all, crazy, right? And they walking up to where you live at. You got that one brother that leading the way. He kind of telling over here, right? And knock on the door, boom, 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 right? And right? Verse 48. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same as he, hold him fast. Because again, they didn't have technology. They didn't have iPhones like this back then. They wasn't on YouTube, so they didn't know how your house shall look like, right? It was all word of mouth, right? Unless you seen him in the flesh. So, hey, Judas said, hey, whoever I kiss, that's him. Get him. That's the sign that that was given to him, man. Whoever I kiss, and that might be now. Hey, whoever I greet first, whoever I dap up, whoever I hug and stuff like that, that's him, right? So hey, watch out, man. Watch out, right? Cause they're targeting. He's marking you, man. He's marking you. So watch out for that one brother who's acting weird all of a sudden, man. Right? He kind of passed by everybody. He kind of, he see you and stuff like that. He passed by everybody else. Somebody trying to, shake him up. Someone trying to, what's called greet him. He said, no, not right now, not right now. He passing through everybody just to get to you, just to salute you first. You kind of all the way in the back. He passing through everybody just to salute you, man. Watch out for that brother, cause he just trying to mark you, man. Right? I'm gonna read verse 48 again. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same as he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yahushua and said, hail, master, and kissed him. You see, that's what Judas marked Yahushua, man. Verse 50. And Yahushua said unto him, friend, wherefore art thou come? So where you coming from? Yahushua still call him friend, right? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him, man. Straight like that. He might salute you, that one brother, or anybody. He might salute you, and guess what? Out of nowhere, you see cop cars coming out of nowhere. All hell breaking loose. The helicopter flashing their light on you. All hell breaking loose. You getting taken up. You getting beaten on the way to the paddy wagon. All hell breaking loose, man. You thought you was about to go out there and teach. Next thing you know, you in the prison. All of a sudden, man, in a matter of minutes, right? And that can happen, man. You never know when is your time, right? You never know when. That's why it's important that we're fasting, man. That you're always on your P's and Q's. That you always, in your boots, man. Boots on the ground. Staying ready that you don't have to get ready. Because if you're not fasting, and all hell break loose out of nowhere, which it will happen, you're going to come like a thief. You're not going to be ready in that day, man. And I'm talking to myself as well, right? Verse 51. And behold, one of them, which were with Yahushua, stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. And that's Peter, man. Peter was a hitter. You can read John chapter, I believe John chapter 19 or John chapter, let me see. You can read John chapter 18 and verse 10. It says, then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So, hey, Simon Peter, he had a sword. Hey, they was trying to take your house shot. He kind of smote off the right ear, man. Right? Because the apostles, they rode with the Lord. The Lord wasn't rolling with nobody who was scared to get put to death. He wasn't rolling with no one who was scared, man. Right? But we can go back to Matthew chapter 26 and verse 52. And it reads, then said Yahushua unto him, put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword, man. Straight like that. But let's keep going, verse 53. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? So the Lord said, if I pray to the Father right now, I can get more than 12 legions of angels, Shalaki, to destroy this place. Right? Verse 54. But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled that thus it must be? So he basically saying, hey, he could, if he wanted to, have a hit out on this place to destroy this place, and I don't have to get put to death. But how then will I must take away the sins of Israel? Right? Verse 55, and it reads, in the same hour said Yahushua to the multitudes, Are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. So the Lord said, hey man, he sat daily in the temple teaching, man. Y'all didn't do nothing then. I was out there teaching together at camp, man. They didn't do nothing then, right? But now all of a sudden they switched up on him, man. Even it got so bad that even his disciples, man, Peter, right, James, all they fled from him, man, and left him and forsook him, right? That's how bad it's gonna get. And a lot of people don't understand how bad it can get. Not even myself, all right? So let's get another account. Let's get Acts chapter 12. Right, and this might be a kind of lengthy video through the Spirit. All praise to the Lord. All praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. This book of Acts, chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 1 again, and it reads, Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword. And I already broke that down. That James, the brother of John, they had a drink of that cup, and he got put to death for the Lord. All right, verse 3. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So Peter, Herod was after Peter's head, right? Verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him into prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So Herod, he caught Peter, he locked Peter up, and now he's in a prison, right? To be put to death in a few days after Easter. Verse 5. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. Right? So prayer, hey man, that's happening right now. Certain brothers got locked up, and you got brothers praying. You got brothers fasting for him to get out, man. Praying that the brother get out, man, and he'll endure unto the end. All praise to the Most High. He get to go through the glory and affliction of this, man. It's a blessing to get locked up. It's a blessing to get beat up, man. All praise to the Most High, right? Verse 6, and Lord willing, he endures. And if you know who I'm talking about, then you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, then you don't. I ain't putting nobody's business out. Verse 6, and when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers. You see that? Hey, let's keep going. Bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. So Peter, he was in jail, in prison. He was in so-called solitary confinement, right? And that's the worst part of jail. Let's keep going. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly, and his chains fell off from his hands. So you might be in a FEMA camp. You might be locked up, and guess what? You might be in there for 3 days. The Lord testing your faith. You might be in there for a month. The Lord just testing your faith. And that day's going to come. An angel might appear in your cell. An angel might, a chariot might be above the prison, kind of, open up the roof of the the ceiling that's in your prison. The light shining, the angel get beamed down to your into your cell. He kind of push you. You know how Jake, when he's trying to wake you up, he kind of rough you, push you side to side, kind of wake you up and stuff like that. The angel might do that to you and say, hey, get up and let's go, right? Verse 7, and it reads, and behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly, and his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself, and bind on thy sandals. And so he did, and he said unto him, Cast thy garment about thee, and follow me, man. Hey, hurry up, get ready, put your shoes on, put your clothes on, and let's go. Let's get out of here, man. So the Lord, he sent an angel to deliver his chosen people. The Lord's not going to forsake you. If you keep the commandments, you're doing his will, you're on fire. The Lord won't forsake you. Verse 9. And again, just because you're in prison doesn't mean that's the end. Just because your head is in the guillotine doesn't mean that's the end. That's really just the beginning for real. All right, verse 9. And he went out, if you have ears to hear, let him hear. And he went out, verse 9, Acts 12 and 9. And he went out and followed him, and was not that it was true, which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. But because Peter, he didn't know that was real or not. He thought he saw a vision. He thought that was just a dream, man. Right? Verse 10. When they were past the first and the second ward, they came into the iron gate that leads into the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him, man. You see that? So the angel could have busted him out. It was a prison break. Right after they got out the whole prison system and stuff like that, the angel disappeared in there. Right? You see, hey, the Lord be sending out, missions for angels, man, for his saints. Right? Go deliver my what's it called? My saint, go deliver my servant and come back to me. Right? Straight like that. And the angel, they're not doing too much, they're not doing less. They're doing exactly what the Most High commanded them. Right? Verse Acts chapter 12 and verse 11. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel and have delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews, man. Straight like that. The Lord delivered him out of the people, the expectation of the Jews. Because they expected Peter to be put to death, man. But the Lord had different plans. The Lord intervened with that. The Lord wasn't having that. So Acts chapter 12 is a good chapter. You should read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing in its entirety, but it's a real good chapter. Right? Let's get another account. In Acts chapter 16 and verse 19, right? Let's get another account of our forefather, man. You had Peter. You even had John. When you read Acts chapter 5, they got beat up. I believe it's Acts chapter 5 or it's Acts chapter 4, or it might be both. They got beat up, man. All right? But this is the book of Acts chapter 16 and verse 19. And it reads, And when her masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers. Right? So Paul and Silas, they rebuked the demon. Next thing you know, guess what? They getting sent to prison, man. Right? Verse 20. And brought them to the magistrates, basically like your so-called officers nowadays, right? Saying, These men, being Jews, do exceedingly trouble our city. And we're doing that right now. You got prophets out there troubling the city, going out there on the highways and byways, saying this place is going to get destroyed. Telling the so-called white man that he's the devil the Bible speaks of, and the Most High hate him. That's in the Bible. If it was out there preaching Christianity, the Lord loves everyone, we wouldn't be getting persecuted. We wouldn't be getting put to death. But we out there saying the so-called white man's the devil the Bible speaks of, we saying that they're going to go into captivity, of course we're going to get put to death. Right? Joel Osteen is not the man that's going to get put to death for the Lord. Right? What's it called? Pastor Bobby. What you got, man? There's so many people, man. There's so many pastors, man. They're not going to get put to death. Right? What's it called? Verse 21. And teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans. Right? So we're teaching customs that's not lawful for a lot of people to receive, man. So-called. Verse 22. And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them, man. So Paul and Silas got beat. All right? They got beat for the name of the Lord, man. Again, Joel Osteen is not getting beat for the Lord, man. All right? Verse 23. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely. So first they got beat up, right? They getting whipped, where they had stripes on their back. Next thing you know, they got cast into prison, right? That's all the Lord, right? They being tried. Verse 24. Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the prison and made their feet fast in the stocks. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto the Most High, and the prisoners heard them. So Paul and Silas, they was praying to the Most High earnestly and faithfully and stuff like that. What's it called? And fervently in the prison, man. Right? It was going at it. Koholom Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah. They were screaming to the top of their lungs. And guess what? Let's see what happened, man. It was so bad that even all the other prisoners heard them. Right? Verse 26. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors were open and everyone's bands were loose, man. They was praising the Lord, and guess what? The Lord sent down an earthquake. He He manipulated the elements for an earthquake to happen, and guess what? The prison doors open. Everything open, and guess what? He delivered Paul and Silas. Now, did Paul and Silas, did they stop teaching after that? No, they went back out there to teach, man. All right? verse 27. Well, that's it on that. I'm not going to read the whole chapter for time's sake, right? But that's a good chapter to read too, Acts 16, man. Really, the whole book of Acts is a good book to read because that's the Acts of the Apostles, man. They went hard for the Lord. It should stir up your spirit when you see someone get put into prison, man. It should stir up your spirit. Hey, I want to be like that. I want to get locked up for the Lord. I want to get beat for the Lord, man. All right? Let's get another one. We'll get one or two more and close out. Let's get another, because there's so many, man. Time of fellas is so many. Even David had to go through it for the Lord. Jeremiah, Isaiah, right? Ezekiel. I'm going to get Daniel right now, right? But everybody had to go through it for the Lord, man, right? If you don't go through it for the Lord, then, hey, man, you don't really deserve the kingdom, right? You don't really deserve it. Cause like you got two people, you got two different people, man. You got that one freshman, right? He working hard to get on that varsity. He working hard. Then you got that one person, he on a JV basketball team, right? He on a JV. He barely works hard for it. But just because you got the freshman, he working hard for it. Then you got that JV, right? And guess what? The JV, he's a senior now. And when you're a senior, you have to be on a varsity team. Did he really deserve to be on a varsity team? No, man. Right? He didn't deserve it. That's why he's still on the bench. But that freshman who's putting the work in, who's taking that seriously, and he was a freshman, guess what? Sophomore year, he get bumped up. Now he's playing up with the varsity, man. And guess what? He's starting point guard now. All right? Because he deserved that. He worked for it. He took it seriously. But that person who was a junior going to a senior year, he just getting bumped up to varsity because he's a senior. He doesn't really deserve it. Right? If y'all know anything about basketball, especially high school, of course. But with this Daniel chapter 6, and I'll start at verse 10, and it reads, Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Because again, there was a declaration or a signing, a written sign, a sign and stuff like that, saying you can't pray unto the God, you can't seek no man or seek no God for 30 days, right? But again, Daniel, he didn't care about that. Daniel still prayed to the Lord. And that's going to happen now. It's going to happen, what's it called? You might have Joe Biden. You might have, what's it called? You're going to have executive orders, happen saying you can't pray to the Most High. You can't go out there to teach. If we find you out there teaching, if anything happens, we're going to put you to death, man. Right? What you going to do that day? I guess we can't read the Bible no more. I mean, they said it. No, brother, because guess what? When you read 1st and 2nd Maccabees, they said you can't keep the Sabbath day. They still kept the Sabbath day and was put to death for it, man. They're not dealing with that. Just because a so-called white man tells you can't do something doesn't mean nothing, man. Their word holds no weight. There are nobody to say that you can't do this, to do that, and the third. There's nobody to say that you can't serve the Most High God. That's why the Lord, that's why Peter and John said in Acts 5 and 29, we ought to obey God rather than man. Salakia. But this Daniel chapter 6 in verse 11, and it reads, Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any God or a man within 30 days, save of thee, except of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? So that basically you have these 3 men that's trying to jam Daniel up. Well, then you say that, you can't seek any God or seek any man for 30 days. And if they do, they're going to be cast into the lion's den. Right? You got that one Jake at the plantation. Right? You see that you're doing good, and he's trying to give you a bad name. He's trying to get you jammed up, man. Just so you won't get that promotion. Right? The king answered and said, The king, this thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but makest his petition 3 times a day. So guess what? They dry snitch. Well, they didn't dry snitch. They snitching on Daniel, man, trying to get him jammed up. Right? Let's keep going. Verse 14. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and cast him into the lion's den. Cast him into the den of lions. And the king spake and said to Daniel, Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. Because this king, he actually believed in the Lord, right? He actually believed in the Lord. He loved Daniel, right? He actually believed in the Lord, though, right? And that's a heathen too, right? That's a heathen. A lot of people say he was mocking. He wasn't mocking, man. There's no question mark. He said, "Hey, man, thy God whom thou serve, he's going to deliver thee." Because if you read down, why the heck would this heathen be trying to fast, right? Verse 17. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his Lord, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Because this king, he had to follow the law. He had to do, he had to follow the law of the land and put Daniel into the lion's den. So he put Daniel into the lion's den. He sealed it up, right? Verse 18. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So he was fasting. There was no music played before him. And while he was sleeping, he woke up in the middle of the night. All right. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste into the den of lions. So the king rose up early in the morning and ran to the lion's den where Daniel was. Right. And it reads, and when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and have shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. So you just believing, you having faith that the Lord going to deliver you. You might be cast in to a pit of snakes, to a den of lions. You never know what your lot is, man. But you have faith that you're going to get delivered out from that. Hey, the Lord, let's see what the Lord going to do for you. Let's keep reading. Daniel 6:24. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones and pieces over them, and break all their bones and pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den, man. So hey, those getting dropped in one by one. The lions, they jumped up to catch them in the middle of the air, right? All hell broke loose, man. Hey, the lions kind of had their way with them, man, right? So the Lord, he returned their own, what's it called, evilness upon their own head, man. And that's how the Lord going to do. You might be getting tormented. You might be getting cast into a den of lions. Next thing you know, you get delivered, and the Lord going to the Lord going to destroy them, man. We'll get one more precept and close out. All right. So this is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 68. Because again, man, all hell is about to break loose, man. Persecution is coming on a high level, right? It's evident. The Lord's not a man that he shall lie, or the son of man that shall repent, right? So whatever the Lord says is going to happen, right? It's not null and void, right? It might happen. No, it's going to happen, right? And you don't want it to come upon you unawares, right? But let's get 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 68, and it reads, let me see. I'll start at verse 67 for exhortation. And it reads, Behold, God himself is the judge. Fear him, leave off from your sins, and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall God lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. So you stop committing that same sin, brother. Stop doing whatever you was doing back in the world. Stop being lukewarm. Stop being slothful. Go read your chapters, brother. You haven't read all day. Go do a video. You haven't done a video in a week, brother. Go out there and teach. You can do more and more and more, right? Verse 68. For behold, their burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Because these what's it called? These police, the military, the FBI agents, they're going to take you. They're going to feed you being idle, meaning you constrained up, you locked up and stuff like that. They're gonna be trying to force swine into your mouth. They're gonna break your teeth for you to eat. They did that back in slavery, man. There's nothing new under the sun, right? They're gonna try to feed you being idle, meaning you locked up, right? With things offered unto idol, meaning things sacrificed unto their gods. And no, don't say, okay, fine, I'll eat it. I gotta use subtlety. No, don't be over righteous. Don't say yes to their food. Don't say yes to their pork chops, to their pork, whatever they got, man. Right? Don't say yes to it. Because the Lord's going to feed you at the end of the day. The Lord had a raven feed Elijah, right? And feed you being idle with things offered unto idols. Verse 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So you're going through it. They offer you food and you consent unto them. Right when you try to, taste that piece of pork, you get shot in the head. Right? And these devils are crafty. They're going to do that to you. It's okay. If you sell out right now, trust me, we'll let you live and continue on. Then guess what? You get that vaccine or whatever you take from them. Right when you do it, they shoot you in the head and now you're dead. Right? And now you got to deal with it. And now you're in the spiritual world and the Lord about to send back your spirit just for you to get them destroyed again. Right? Verse 70. For there shall be in every place, it says every place, and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, man. Meaning a great killing, man. A great tumult, right? All hell gonna be breaking loose in every city on those who fear the Lord, who's keeping the commandments. They're gonna bust down your door. I'm gonna get that precept next, actually. They're gonna bust down your door. Talking about it's the FBI. They come to your mom or to anybody. Have you seen this man? Hey, and she kind of whispered, "Hey, he's in there." Next thing you know, you kind of hit a flea. Now you lift up the window, you do a dash. Now you're in the wilderness, all hell breaking loose. Or you might be asleep. They kind of bust on your door, all hell breaking loose. They kind of, they have the dogs in your room, right? They talking about get down the ground, taser, all hell breaking loose. They got you pinned against the wall. Now next thing you know, you're in the back of the paddy wagon. Now you're in prison, all hell breaking loose in a matter of 10 minutes. All hell broke loose, man, right? What's it called? Verse 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. So you're going to be cast out of your own house. Because again, times is coming when you can't buy and sell, man. Right? So you try to, get down with your philosophies and stuff like that. And the Lord said you can't. So it's going to come to a time and place when you don't have the vaccine. You don't have this, that, and the third to be able to live in this society. You're going to be kicked out because you can't pay rent. You're going to be kicked out because you're a Hebrew Israelite. Now you're going to be homeless, man. Verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, man. Right, the Lord going because in that day when you're going through it, then you're going to know who the Lord's chosen. Because if you're not going through it in that day, you're not God's chosen people. And on another fold, it's either you're going to sell out or you're not. You're going to see people sell out in that day. A lot of people you're going to see sell out in that day. You think that man was chosen or stuff like that. You think that man was chosen, but really he wasn't. Let me get one more precept. That's why it's important to be praying, to be fasting now, man, asking for mercies, asking for more faith. Don't be so tripped out because that one female at work, all hell breaking loose at work, man. You over here overthinking everything. Right, the Lord's not dealing with that. Right. Stop thinking about courting every time, man. Should I slide her DMs or what's going on? What should I do? Brother, all hell about to break loose, brother. You haven't read. You over here try to slide her DMs. You haven't read anything today, brother. Slide in the book. Slide in the Bible, man. Slide in the book of Psalms at least. Come on, so I slide into the DMs. But this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 6, and it reads, "Ask ye now and see whether a man does Salakia. Ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned to paleness," man. So Jeremiah, he seen this vision. He saw in the vision that everybody had their hands. They was very scared. They were so scared that their face was pale, man. Talking about us. Because all hell was breaking loose, man. Right? Verse 7, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." And Jacob's trouble is when all hell is breaking loose. It's like the what's it called? The purge, but 10 times worse. Right? You're gonna have people again, they're gonna be getting they're gonna be on the run, right? You might have so-called zombies and stuff, walking, roaming the place. All hell gonna be breaking loose, man, because you're gonna have pestilence, you're gonna have a famine, you're gonna be on the run, you're gonna have people in prisons, you're gonna have people getting shot down in the streets, you're gonna hear people getting raped, you're gonna have all hell breaking loose, man. And on top of that, World War III gonna be going on. And all hell gonna be breaking loose. It's gonna be worse than the Holocaust. It's gonna be worse than World War II. It's gonna be worse than slavery. It's gonna be the worst thing ever on the face of the earth. So think of something that happened before time, right? In history, and you think that's bad, it's gonna be 10 times worse than that, right? It's gonna be the worst thing ever. But the Lord said He's gonna save you out of that day, right? So Lord willing, it was edifying. Lord willing, you was edified through the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shah. So B'Hashem HaMashiach Womalak Yahweh Shah, Kol Halom Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Shalom Israel, and dear.